What's going on, everybody? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take a look at the Star Wars Black Series Acolyte Kelnacca Jedi Wookiee action figure. This is a figure I was actually really looking forward to. I mean, who doesn't love Wookiees? They're essentially just big pets, you know, according to George Lucas. And also, who doesn't like a Wookiee Jedi? I'm kind of shocked that this is the first Wookiee Jedi that we got, but not, I guess, all that shocked because it is new media, and I guess it is, quote, relevant. Like I said, I was not a fan of the Acolyte show whatsoever. I made that pretty well known. But the figures, on the other hand, I've also made it very well known that I very much enjoy the action figures that have come out. I love the sculpts, the unique designs for the Jedi robes and garb and such. Looks really good. So, but yeah, Kelnacca here, I think, is a really fine looking figure. I'm going to be doing comparisons with a whole bunch of different figures because he is kind of his own height. He's shorter than the traditional Chewbacca that we've got. Hi, Dusty. Dusty's coming in to say hello. But he is also taller. So he's shorter than Chewbacca, but he's also taller than Black Chrysanthemum. So he is kind of on a brand new body other than a couple things. I think maybe the feet are reused. But other than that, I think for the majority of this body, it is a new sculpt. And this could be the majority of the new sculpt that we see for the next new updated Chewbacca body, which I don't think I really mind. Maybe I would like it if Chewbacca's a little bit taller. But overall, I think the figure has very good range of motion, and especially in the butterfly area, it's very good. Look how much I can get him to pinch his arms in. That's pretty good. And yes, he's almost decapitating himself here, but don't worry about that. He also can really, I mean, really get into some pretty awesome posing. I mean, you can really get him to bend that leg, put some nice, good range of motion in that ankle, so you can really kind of get him. You know, the head is still going to be a little bit hindered, but you can actually work with it. I actually got that head to kind of turn a little bit. It is sitting a little bit high on the shoulder, but it doesn't look unnatural, kind of like the regular Chewbacca that we've got in the past. But yeah, once you get him all settled, get those swivels going, everything works, start working from the ground up, he sits just fine. You can get him to balance with zero issues. Just got to work with it a little bit. Like I said, posing equals, or patience equals posing. So there's that. There you go. There's a nice little pose for you. But yeah, I think being able to get him to kick also, pretty awesome. Let's see if we can get him into like a kneeling pose here. Maybe he's meditating or something like that. Get this lightsaber out of here. We'll get to the lightsaber also because it is an all new sculpt as well, which is very nice. Most lightsabers, I want to say at least most of them, are usually a newer sculpt unless it is a reused character. And then they normally, let's get him kind of like in a meditation. He's begging for his life here. you know, there you go. There's a Chewbacca call for you, or a Wookiee call. But yeah, I think the figure poses well. I think the range of motion is very good. You really get a nice good swivel, and there's a nice snap detense in there, so it looks really good. The lightsaber is a large lightsaber. It is meant to fit into these hands. And just to kind of give you a frame of reference, if I can find... Here is Luke's lightsaber, and there is Kelnacca's compared to that, and it is large, thick. It's a thick boy right there. Looks really nice, very unique. All these Acolyte lightsabers look pretty nice and unique. Takes place during the High Republic era, so they were a little bit more I want to say gaudy because that's the wrong term. A little bit more, I guess, fantastical looking as opposed to the uh, OT trilogy that we're used to with most lightsabers and even prequel lightsabers where they kind of look very similar to each other, you know. But this looks pretty cool. I like it. You can remove the lightsaber blade off of there, and then you can simply plug it into his side right here. Let's see how well that plugs in, because sometimes these lightsabers don't really want to stay in. But that one seems to stay in pretty decently. And this is essentially really one of his only accessories. The other one is his robe, which I did de-robe him before the review. Let's get him all dressed up. Let's dress up our little guy here. And you want to have it sit kind of natural on him, because I want to say with most of these Jedi robes, with the hood, which is tacked down, which is actually stitched down. They kind of want to just hang off the shoulders a little bit loosely, but it does stay, so that's not an issue. But yeah, that's definitely, like I was saying with the Clone Wars episode, I always thought that was really cool. And also one of my favorite parts of the Jedi Fallen Order game is when he goes to Elam and, you know, gets his lightsaber and gets to build and construct his own lightsaber. I think that's so cool. Such a fun element of Jedi lore. And kind of working this behind the big hair in the back here. And just working it up. And there you go, right there. He is with his robe on. So if you want to have him with the robe on, you can. If not, you don't have to. This is kind of the earlier scene. This isn't his later Kelnacca look where we see him when he gets assassinated, essentially, which is still one of the probably the biggest misses for the Acolyte, which is how do you have a Wookiee Jedi get killed off screen? It is absolutely atrocious. You don't even have a big battle with him to see what he could do against the stranger. You just see him simply just sitting in a chair dead, which is just, I'm sorry, but absolutely awful. A missed opportunity for fans to actually see a Wookiee Jedi in live action do what he needs to do. Now, we do get to see him fight other Jedi, which is kind of stupid, but I'd rather see him fight a Sith or a Dark Jedi or an evil Force user. That's what I would prefer. But this is what we got, so this is the earlier look for him, not his later look. But I think it looks pretty good, so no issues there. I'm going to take the robe back off just to go through articulation and range of motion and stuff like that, because he does have new articulation. And I feel like, especially when it's a new figure with new stuff going on, you really do want to go through that. But anyway, and then I'll get to details and stuff like that. But as far as his articulation can go, his head can swivel kind of side to side a little bit. You can push it a little bit. You can kind of like push this up and over. I don't know how much pressure that's putting on the peg, and it does have this big gap, but you know, you're going to have that if you wanted to have him look to the left or right in a more natural way, you know. Other than that, you're just going to have him kind of look straight on. There's a little bit of range of motion going up and down, not too much. Let's see if we got jive turkeys. We got a little bit of turkeys. So there's that. And he can tilt a little bit, but it just wants to go back to neutral. So not really a pit tilt there. Sorry, buddy. Arms go up, they go down, full 360 rotation in the arm if you needed to. He does have butterfly joints like I alluded to earlier. Single jointed elbow, swivel at that elbow. He has a swivel at the wrist. And does he have a hinge? It's really deep in there. I'm trying to see if this is ball jointed or if it's hinged. And I can't really tell, but it looks ball jointed. So we got a ball joint. That's good. Thank you. He can swivel at the waist, and we do have some ratcheting going on there. He can crunch a little bit back, and he can crunch forward, which is good. He can he can't really tilt. So that's about it for that. Legs go forward, and legs go back. He can do the splits about that far, which is actually better than some Spider-Man figures. He does he have a, no, he's got the anatomically correct upper thigh swivel, so it does move a little bit. But his legs can also go back. I don't know if I pointed that out. Sorry about that. Knees can bend and just more than 90 degrees. And then they can also swivel. And then he can pointy toe. He can pointy heel a little bit. Not a lot of range of motion in the ankles, but he can also ankle pivot. So there is that. And they are equal on both sides. So that is it as far as, oh, and 2 peg holes at the bottom of his feet, and a partridge in a pear tree. Okay, so looking at Kelnacca here, as far as details go, the face sculpt looks really good. Let me just bring my camera in here a little bit so we can get up close and personal with some good lighting. He is a little bit shiny. I might have to use some Mr. Super Clear on him after the review, just to kind of, make him look a little bit more natural, not so glistening. But we also have like some detail or tattoos on the side of his head, which is pretty cool. I don't know how well those tattoos are going to stay on the fur on the side of his head, but I mean, that's the thing, I guess, which is also a detail I never even noticed, even from watching the show, because most of the time when I saw him, I just assumed he had hair there and that's it. I didn't even notice the tattoos before, but that's a nice little detail to kind of point out. He's got all these really cool braids and such that are painted in with the little black clasps holding those in. And then he's got more braids all along the front. They're very small, but you can kind of see them shining like there and there and there and there and all over the place. So it looks really cool. And you can see his little teeth right there. And then his eyes in there. Looks really good. And then also with the shading, the elements of going from a more like a nutmeg brown up here. There's a little bit of tuft of gray on the top of his head. But you're going from gray to like a nutmeg brown to like a darker brown right here. Looks really good. Nice transition with the paint. And then over here, we're getting a much darker tone right here. And then a little bit lighter for the hands. Same thing with the legs. You almost have like almost 3 tones of brown here. You got a brown here. It's almost like a brownish gray kind of going down. And then you got like a light brown here. And then it goes back to that like nutmeg brown that I was talking about earlier. And then you got gray for the bottoms of his feet. So looks pretty cool. And then here's the back of the figure. And then take a look at his utility belt here. His Jedi utility belt. Got a pocket right there. Some like gold clasps right there. Got a little insignia right there. Looks really good. And then there's the holder for the lightsaber. But yeah, looks really good. And as far as the robe goes, I think it's pretty well done. I don't have any issues with how it's stitched or anything like that. A lot of people will probably kind of complain that this is stitched down and you can't really use the hood. But I have detached the hood from one of my Jedi Master Souls, and the hood just flops. Like it sits way too high. So you almost, for aesthetics, you want to keep that down. And these robes are actually really good for other Jedi too. They're good for like Obi-Wan, Anakin. I think they work really great. Now his robe is a little bit longer than the normal robe. And it has to be because he's a much larger character. And just to kind of point that out, here is Jackie's robe, and then here is Kelnacca's. And as you can see, it's far longer. Here it is right there. So they also kind of made robes. And here's like a custom robe right here that I'm using for a different character that I'm working on as far as a custom. And it is larger, much larger. So you've got some good variety of options with these robes that are coming out. And I think they're doing a pretty good job, other than that silly Palpatine that came with the throne. But let me find his lightsaber here. And then you just simply want to plug this back in like so. And I always really try to be careful with those. But it pops into place and there's no issues with looseness like some of the older lightsabers too. So... and he can hold the lightsaber in either hand. He does have a trigger hand on this side, which is really, really weird. But he can hold it just fine. No issues there. I do have a little bit of looseness in this arm. It's not too bad. and a little bit of looseness in this ankle right here, which is a little bit worrisome just because it's loose going straight up, which makes him want to topple forward. But once I kind of get those heels back and really kind of just keep him in place the way I want, it tends to stay. So it's a non-issue now. Maybe down the road it might get worse, but it's okay. Okay, so for the first round of size comparisons, we've got a Marvel Legend on the right in the Ben Reilly Spider-Man, one of my favorite looks for Ben Reilly. And then on the left here, we've got the G.I. Joe Classifieds Starduster, which is also a really fun figure. All right, next up, as far as size comparisons go, we've got a Operation Monster Force Delta Red action figure on the right. And then on the left, we got the Jada Toys Street Fighter II Guile. All right, next up, we've got two of my favorites. On the left, we've got Halo Spartan Collection Jerome. And then on the right, we've got Sir Gideon Heavensbrand. And next up, we've got two more Black Series figures. We've got the Mandalorian Armored Imperial Commandos, I think they're called. I can't remember, but on the right, and then on the left, we've got a Bespin Han Solo, so you can see how he stacks up with Kelnacca. Okay, and as far as the last comparison, probably the comparison that everyone wants to see, we've got Black Chrysanthemum on the right, which is a figure I really do love and enjoy as far as the sculpt goes. And then we've got the Return of the Jedi Chewbacca on the left. So there you go with that. Actually, that might be Empire Strikes Back Chewbacca, but no, that's the 40th anniversary Chewbacca without the chain around his neck. So there's that as far as that goes. Sorry to clarify there. But yeah, like I said, it goes tallest to shortest here, going from left to right. Chewbacca is taller than Kelnacca, and then Kelnacca is taller than Black Chrysanthemum, which I guess is perfectly fine. I really do love that Black Chrysanthemum. It's fantastic. Dusty saying hello again. Hey, hi, bud. Say hi, everybody. Hello. We're doing Wookiees, and you're a Wookiee. It's my little Wookiee. Good boy. A good boy. Okay, and here is the whole cast for the Acolyte minus May and Osha, which are still sitting on my shelf. We've got Basil up front, and then we've got Indara and Yord and my custom Stranger right there. And then Vernestra in the back. And we've got Jackie up front, and then Master Soul. So there you go with the whole cast, well, most of the cast, 90% of the cast of Acolytes. Supposedly, rumor is that we're supposed to get a Stranger figure, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. It's a rumor. So Dusty's playing DJ. Yeah, I think I'll end it here. I'm not going to do a single rotational ending here. I'll just say I think this is a really great figure. I paid regular retail, was it $33.99 for him, and I got him through Amazon. Amazon was very quick to ship him. Got him earlier today, so I wanted to get this review out as fast as possible because I was really looking forward to this figure. I think the lightsaber looks really good. I really like the sculpt. I'm glad we actually got some new parts for a Wookiee, which is really cool. I would love to get a Tarful down the road. That'd be great. And obviously, I think we're going to get a new Chewbacca and a new Han Solo and maybe a new C-3PO. And definitely, I think it's been rumored or leaked that we're getting a new Ben Kenobi from Episode 4, which is fantastic. I can't wait for that. But overall, like I said, I think this figure is really great. I think you guys will really enjoy it. If you do love Wookiees or Jedi, combine those together and you get a great figure. Really good range of motion for a larger deluxe figure. Articulation's great. Sculpt is great. Paint is great. I love the robe that he comes with too, even though it's a little bit of work to get it on. It's not that bad. I love the ball-jointed wrists also, and overall the sculpt is fantastic. So that's going to be pretty much it for me. Let me get my rating out here. What is he going to get? I don't know where I'm going to put my thumbs. I'll put, you know what? I'll put one thumb there, and then I'll put the other thumb over here if it'll stay. I don't know if it's going to stay, but there you go. Okay, you got 2 thumbs up. I definitely would highly recommend you picking him up, even if you don't like the Acolyte and you just like really cool designs for Jedi, or if you want to turn him into just, I don't know, a different Wookiee Jedi, you could totally use this body as a base for yourself and go from there. Really impressed also with the butterfly joints. I wanted to point that out heavily. Butterfly joints and range of motion in those arms are really, really good. So, but yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for me. I would like to thank my members, Terry Turner and Woodman29. And if you want to join, become a Jive Turkey, you can in the description box below. There are memberships available at multiple different tiers. So go for it if you want to, and continue to support the channel. If you don't want to, but you can just support it freely, which is just by simply subscribing, liking, and commenting. That helps the channel grow very much. Thank you so much for watching yet again, and I will see you guys on the flip side.